is this thing that happen every December 31st. You're thinking about the year ahead, and there is this little list that is forming in your mind. Maybe it's exercise more. Maybe it's save more money. Be more patient with my kid. Get organized. Stop scrolling so much on social media. Eat healthier. And the list goes on. And if you're paying attention, you might notice something. This is a very similar list that you had to the year before and the year prior to that. But this time it feels a little bit different. You've got a plan. You've joined a gym, you've downloaded the app, you bought a planner. January 1st hits and you're doing it. You're actually doing it. 2 weeks in, maybe 3 weeks in. If you're super stubborn, something shifts though. The motivation starts to fade. You might miss a day and then 2 days, and then you're back to your old patterns, feeling like you failed at something that you genuinely wanted. And if you've Googled, why can't I stick to my New Year's resolutions? Or is it normal to fail every year in my goals? Then you're in the right place, because the answer isn't what you think. It's not your willpower. It's not discipline. It's not that you are lazy or other people have something that you don't. It's your brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And once you understand the 3 specific mechanisms that sabotage New Year's resolution, and I'm going to walk you through all 3, you'll never set a goal the same way again. Because what I'm about to show you isn't common sense. It actually contradicts most of what you've been taught about willpower and discipline. Mechanism 1 has to do with how your brain treats threats versus reward. Mechanism 2 is about what stress does to your ability to think clearly. And then mechanism 3, this one surprised me the most when I first learned about it, has nothing to do with motivation at all. It has to do with time itself. Hi, I'm Dr. Rue, and I'm a psychologist, and I've spent a lot of time working with high achievers who beat themselves up over this exact pattern. People who are successful in their career and who manage complex projects, who show up for everyone else, but cannot forgive them stick to a New Year's resolution. So let's talk about why that is. Your brain has one primary job: keep you alive. Everything else is secondary. When your grandparents lived in a cave 10,000 years ago, this made perfect sense. Your brain was constantly scanning for threats, predators, food, scarcity, rival tribes, anything else that was dangerous. And it developed this incredibly efficient system where avoiding loss matters more than seeking reward. Neuroscientist Dr. Tara Swartz called this loss avoidance wiring. Your brain is literally built to prioritize not dying over thriving. So if you saw food on a tree, but there was also a threat nearby, your brain would focus on the threat first. Because if you survive but don't get the food, you get to try again tomorrow. But if you get to the food but don't notice the threat, there is no tomorrow. This made you really good at survival. It did not make you good at setting meaningful goals. Because here's what's happened when you sit down on December 31st to write your resolutions. You're not thinking about what you want to move forward. You're thinking about what you want to avoid. I don't want to be overweight anymore. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to feel like a failure. I don't want to waste another year. Every single one of these goals is rooted in a threat direction. So when you lose 20 pounds on your January 1st, your brain doesn't hear get healthier. It hears your current body is a threat. And when you write save $5,000, your brain hears you're financially unsafe right now. And here's where it gets super weird. You might feel motivated at first. Anxious energy can look a lot like motivation, but your brain is literally treating your goal the same way it would treat a predator. It's activating the exact same threat direction system. So you're not moving towards something you want, you're running away from something you're afraid of. And you can only run for so long before you collapse. This is why New Year's resolution statistics are so bleak. It's not that people don't want to change, it's that we're using a goal-setting approach designed to avoiding threats, not creating the new life that we actually want. That's mechanism 1, loss avoidance wiring. Now, let me show you mechanism 2. When you set a goal from a place of fear, from that threat direction mode, your body releases cortisol. It's a stress hormone, the one that floods your system when you're in danger. Cortisol is not bad, even though it got pretty bad rap lately. You need it to wake up in the morning. You need it to respond when your car runs a red light and you have to brake really fast. But the problem is that when your cortisol stays elevated because you're constantly thinking about everything you're not doing right, it changes how your brain functions. So going back to Dr. Tara Swartz, she describes this as low power mode. Like when your phone is about to die and it's about to shut down. So all the apps you're not using to conserve energy are going to go down as well. So when your brain is on a low power mode because of chronic stress, it stops sending resources to a higher function, the parts of what you can think creatively, solve complex problems, regulate your emotions. Those systems get deprioritized. What you're left with is just enough brain power to get through the day. So you're going to show up at work so that you don't get fired. You're going to keep your basic relationships intact. That means that you're going to get to survive. And that's why you can know exactly what you should be doing. You should go to the gym, you should prep a meal, you should go to bed earlier, and you're still not doing it. And if you've ever had that experience where you know you should do something, you've planned to do the thing, you genuinely want to do it, and then you just don't, that's not really a character flaw. It's a lot of issues regarding your cortisol, keeping your prefrontal cortex offline. So your brain literally cannot access the resources you need to execute on a complex behavior change when it's stuck in survival mode. So let's talk about this case. Super successful executive who would get home from work and literally sit in her car for 20 minutes because she couldn't make herself go inside and cook a healthy dinner she planned. She beat herself up about it. I can manage a team of 30 people, but I can't make myself walk into my own kitchen. Here's what's happening. She spent all day in meetings, making decisions, managing stress. Her brain was already taxed out on cortisol. By the time she got home, she was in survival mode. And survival mode said, find the fastest path to calories and rest, which is why she ended up ordering takeouts and feeling like she failed again. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that when you're really stressed, you can't make yourself do the healthy thing? You know you should cook dinner, but you ordered takeout. You know you should go for a walk, but you just collapsed in front of the couch instead. That's cortisol. That's your brain saying, we are in threat mode. We're not trying any new things right now. We're just gonna chill, trying to make it through. Okay, so let's pause for a second because I know what some of you are thinking right now. I've done this stress management. I meditate, I do yoga. I still can't stick to my goals. And that's because there is a third mechanism that almost nobody talks about. It has nothing to do with stress. It has to do with time itself. And this one surprised me when I first learned about it. Your brain needs feedback. It needs to know, did that action I took just move me closer to safety or further away from it? And it needs to know relatively quickly. When you set an annual goal to lose 30 pounds this year or save 10 grand by December, read 50 books, You've created a timeline that's too big for your brain to track meaningfully. Generally, this is what happens. You go to the gym in January and your brain says, okay, we did the thing. Did we reach the goal? No, you're still 30 pounds away. Should we keep doing this? I don't know. We can't tell if it's working yet. Comes February, still going to the gym, still 25 pounds away. Brain says, this isn't progressing fast enough. Maybe we should try something else. Or maybe this goal doesn't matter as much as you thought. By March, your brain has stopped caring about December. December might as well be 10 years from now. The urgency is gone. The emotional intensity has faded. And without that intensity, the new behavior doesn't stick. Research shows that about 80% of New Year's resolution fail by mid-February. That's not because 80% of people are lazy or undisciplined. It's because annual goals create too much distance between action and feedback. Your brain is designed for immediate cause and effect. Do the thing, see result. Adjust behavior, result, repeat, then repeat. When the result is 11 months away, your brain just stops paying attention. Interestingly, when researchers studied goal achievement, they found that people who set shorter time frames, say 12 weeks instead of 12 months, were 90% more likely to hit their goals. Not because they worked harder, because their brains could actually track progress. Your brain needs to see, I did the thing, something changed, I'll keep doing the thing. When that cycle takes a year to complete, your brain literally checks out. When that cycle completes every few weeks, your brain stays engaged. So the people who succeed at annual goals aren't more disciplined. They just happen to be checking in and adjusting frequently enough that their brain doesn't lose the thread. So let's bring this all together. You set a resolution because you're trying to avoid something you're afraid of. That triggers stress. The stress keeps your brain in survival mode. Survival mode means you can't access the higher level thinking that you actually need to change a behavior. And even if you push through that, the annual timeline is way too long for your brain to maintain motivation. The system was designed to fail. So if you've been asking yourself, why do I always fail in resolutions? This is why. The system was rigged from the beginning. And I know that might sound discouraging, but here is why it's not. Once you understand that the problem is not you, you can start asking different questions. Not why can't I stick to anything, but what would goal setting look like if it worked with my brain instead of against it? Not what do I need to stop doing, but what do I actually want to move towards? Because it's not your goal setting. You have to understand what would work to make it adaptive. It changes based on practice. And if you've been practicing avoidance-based, stress-driven annual goal for years, your brain has gotten really good at that pattern. But that same neuroplasticity, that same ability to wire and rewire based on repetition means that you can practice something different. What happens if you keep doing the same way? Every January you set goals, every February you fail, every March you beat yourself up, and every December you are not just dealing with the original problem, you're also dealing with a story that you've internalized, that you're the kind of person who can't finish what they're started. That's the real cost. Not the 20 pounds, not the $5,000 that you wanted to save. It's the erosion of trust in yourself. I'm going to be honest with you. When clients first come to me saying they can't stick to their goals, I don't start by helping them set better goals. I start by asking them to get curious about what their current goals actually protecting them from. Because often the goal is not the goal. The goal is a way to feel in control of something that feels scary. And your brain, brilliant as it is, knows the difference between controlling fear and moving towards something that matters. Over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about what it looks like to set goals that don't feed your anxiety, and how to work with your brain's needs for feedback loops instead of fighting it, and what to do when you've already failed your January goals, which if you're watching this on, January 15th, feeling like you've already messed up, you haven't. You just tried to run a marathon in survival mode when your brain was telling you to chill, sit down, and eat something. For today, I just want you to sit with this. If your resolutions keep failing, the problem is not your discipline. It's that you're trying to build a thriving life using a survival brain's playbook. And those two completely different games. I'll see you next week.